finalizing look inside of Week of Sports. As it is known to the fans, all other sports shows are just buckets, but this is Game Point.
What's going on, man? Des the Connect.
And it's that mouthy mofo out the Midwest, Ted Grams, checking in.
Pops in the house.
That's all you got for us, man? Low energy, man?
Pops in the house.
Pops in the house.
Man, you go back, you could work 4 days this week, man. You ain't got no energy, man. You ready to take a nap.
Pops in the house.
It was a great week of basketball, man. After seeing a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter, man, we seen the Cavs come back.
Shout out my home team, man, because they showing me some things. I ain't felt like this since the championship run, man. They showing me some things right now. Excited for these Cavs. I know my city excited. So definitely got to get a home team some love right now because the games have been lit. You know what I'm saying? They've been trying to they look like a contender. I ain't gonna say they look like a championship team just yet, but we looking a little bit more like a contender. You know what I'm saying? I don't hear nobody saying we ain't coming out the East no more.
I don't know, man. After that Cavs loss to the Sixers, man, what do you think, man? Are the Sixers a serious team to take as a title contender?
Like I said, to me, I'm never banking on anything to happen that I haven't seen before, that I haven't seen yet. So they got to make a deep run for me to say that they are a real contender. But I definitely think they're a team that you got to take them serious. And if that young boy Joel Embiid is healthy and Ben Simmons is healthy and he's out there making plays for him, nobody wants to see them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. But they're a team that you got to take very serious, and you definitely got to keep your eyes on because they're going to be the ones to beat sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Yeah, very interesting team. Hope LeBron doesn't go there next year and close down the league. But
is that what you go?
That's the talk on the streets.
At this time, and talk on what streets? Not the streets I be on.
The streets of Philadelphia.
Yeah, you must be out
you can
Philly
close
way.
down this league if LeBron goes there, but that's a subject for another day. Yeah, they're a real good team. They got the outside shooting. They got the big man. They got Ben Simmons. We'll see what they do with the playoff pressure, though.
Who do you think is their most important guy outside of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? Who you think is that third guy, like that third? We see a lot of teams going with the kind of big three, quote unquote, way of piecing the team together. Who's that third guy that you think is the most important, Pops?
Probably Covington or either
not J.J. Redick.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Maybe J.J. or maybe a surprise.
To me, J.J., man, they need that offensive shooting. I see just actually with the way Ben Simmons carved up the Cavs, man, he's somebody who's going to be living in the paint, living around the bucket. I think a lot like LeBron, you know what I'm saying, this big bro. What I think he said he was the Fresh Prince, and, LeBron was King James. So, I mean, that's the big bro, and that's his mentor that he looking up to, and a lot like him. In his younger days, he's got the supreme athleticism, as we see Jan Gomez just knock off a walk-off homer for the Indians, you know what I'm saying? We just did our thing, put down the Royals. The batting is going to come, we're going to get into that. But don't worry, man, we going to bring the bats. The bats going to heat up, man. The pitching is solid. The bats going to heat up. That's my analysis for that, but we'll get into that a little bit later, but no, though. Make no mistake about what Ben Simmons and them is doing out there. And Ben Simmons, got to just keep it a buck. Very special, getting to the hoop. And I just wanted to say this, man. I saw him really get into his trick bag with dribbling that rock. And, man, it's crazy. We said it before KDO. It's one thing to be a, taller guy and you dribbling like a point guard. But Ben Simmons is a, 7-footer, 6'10" guy, and he's dribbling it like Kyrie. Like, his trick bag is wide open, man. I seen this sham god in full effect. And, he isn't just doing it. He's making plays off it. The guy, he's going to be a big-time player in this league for a long, long time. And I'm excited to get to see him do his thing.
No question. Ben is going to be special. He's like Giannis a little bit. I mean, not the game, but I'm talking about as soon as he learns how to shoot, he's got some LeBron James in him. Not the athlete LeBron is.
I'm not going to lie, though. And, I know I'm gonna take some flack for this, but I'm just calling it. Ben has a greater affinity for offense. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just say that. To me, he's more comfortable as a playmaker. Like, he's a consummate playmaker.
Than Giannis?
Like, than Giannis. Okay. Yeah,
absolutely. No question. No question.
Like Ben is a point guard.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying,
and like I say, I just think as far as having an affinity for offense itself, seeing plays happen, before they actually occur, having just that, that point guard vision and mindset and timing. I see it coming in a greater wealth and much more naturally to Ben Simmons, where Giannis being a supreme athlete, his size and his ability in the open floor, you know what I'm saying, things like that. That's where you really see him take off, see him going coast to coast off the glass. That's where Giannis, to me, really, he's more comparable to a Kevin Durant as far as, I think where he's going to get it off in the open floor.
Yeah, but I wasn't comparing them as far as their playing style. I was talking about as far as shooting. I was saying, like I always tell you, once Giannis learns how to shoot, gets that outside shot together, how you can close down. But even I think
with the jumper, I think Ben got more with the jumper right now, like just in the mid-range, being able to post guys up and at least hit it more consistently over smaller guys. I've seen him do it a little bit this year, posting guys up and knocking it down the fadeaway J. I seen him do it.
Oh, no, man. Come on, man. He can't outshoot me right now.
Oh, man, yeah. So surely he can. I'm not saying – now, obviously, opposed to – I just told you how special this guy was going to the hoop. But, I mean, listen, Giannis is – I don't know. I just don't see it for him. I don't really see a three-point shot for Giannis, maybe a mid-range, but I think his trajectory is going to be – and it's already feeling a lot more because he's a guy, he's been in the league for a little while now. What is this, 4th, 5th year?
Nah, Giannis 5 or 6. He was in the 2013 draft, I think.
Okay, so yeah, to my point, he's a veteran in this league now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So
you'd rather have
I think he's more on the John Wall trajectory with his jumper. He's not gonna be like LeBron. He's not gonna be somebody who like is gonna could possibly end up being like a great shooter.
You got a franchise right now. Who would you rather have, Ben or Giannis?
If I got a franchise right now,
I'd rather to you right now. Who would you rather have, Ben or Giannis?
And starting from scratch,
I'd
rather have Giannis.
Okay.
Because like I said, his ability, it makes him more versatile. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if I had more of a plan and I wasn't it was less off of one pick and it was more about planning the franchise, I think Ben Simmons in today's league, he might be a better guy to build around. But Giannis, just what he gives you on both ends of the floor, I got to go with Giannis at this point. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case this time next year. That's all I'm going to say, Pops.
Okay, and getting back to that Philly, that third option, if as far as the Cavs have always been able to neutralize guys like the shooter we have now when he was in Atlanta, Kyle.
Korver.
Yeah, so I don't think I can't see Redick killing us in the playoffs, but we'll see. We'll see. That's going to be very interesting. But we seem to neutralize guys that can't beat you off the bounce.
I will say this, yeah, but
it was the offense though. They're getting these guys open better than
and I gotta give a lot of that credit to Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Like Ben Simmons, those teams haven't necessarily been anchored by the type of playmaker that Ben Simmons has proven.
They had Teague, who was a decent playmaker.
Yeah, and that's why
and they had Schroeder,
a decent playmaker. But even Teague isn't a pure point guard. You know how much point guard is in his blood. He a quick guy who can get into the lane, but he's not a pure point. You know what I'm saying?
I beg to differ. I think he is a pure point.
I don't.
No?
No.
You think he's more a combo guard?
Yeah.
No, man. He can dish. I
think he can dish it? I'm not saying that he can't. I'm not saying that he can't.
I think
you know
career-wise, I think he's been as high as 9 assists a game. No?
I mean, in today's league, you got to remember in today's league, and not only that, but he played a lot in Atlanta where, like Kyle Korver was the starter. He's not a guy who's going to handle it a whole bunch. So a lot of that playmaking kind of falls onto you. Like you see guys in the league where you're kind of the uncontested, ball handler and playmaker. You're kind of getting to do all of those things and makes all of those plays. We see flats get, a little inflated in today's game. It's a fast-paced game. It's going to be a lot of opportunity for assists and buckets. I'm just saying somebody's got to get it, even for when the team's
But
not the greatest.
I think I've seen him have a year where he averaged about 8 assists a game, which ain't bad.
He's averaging 6 assists for his career and 7 assists this season.
What was his career high?
I don't have it by season. I just have the
Yeah,
career in this season.
But I mean, you see the numbers right there.
Mm-hmm.
Modest. 6 assists for a guy who's played point guard and is a smaller guard. So it's not like he's ever dabbled in like 2-guard roles or anything
but look at how
like that.
that offense in Atlanta was based on a ball movement. He didn't have it in his hands all the time. Like Ben pretty much has it in his hands all the time, doesn't he?
I mean, he does.
Yeah. The most he's ever averaged, he averaged 7.2 one season. No, 7.8 last year, actually.
Okay. That's almost 8 assists a game.
In Indiana.
I mean, like I said, we all know when you start talking about true point, this guy's who can average 10. You know what I'm saying? But you got to have 4 years, I think. In order for me to put that true point guard, it's a term that we throw around a little bit too much. I think guys are, very gifted at the point guard position in today's game. And there are a lot of them, especially if you come to a lesser team, you're a higher pick going to a lesser team, i.e. Ben Simmons. You see a lot of guys get the keys early, like, hey.
So Redick, you're telling me Redick hurts us more than Korver. You're telling me what you anticipate?
I think paired with a presence like Joel Embiid down low, and then a true point guard playmaker like Ben Simmons that we've never seen the likes of at 6'10",
he's gonna hurt us.
He has a greater potential to hurt us than Kyle Korver. Not to mention, I think at this point, like where we really sealed Korver up and really locked him down, I think that he was, I hate to say him being in our hometown now, but I think he was more on the downside or more like towards the end of his prime, whereas I feel like J.J. Redick is in the midst of his prime right now.
J.J. Redick is Jerry West now, right?
No, he's not Jerry West, but I mean, make no mistake, in today's game, the way today's game is played, I do think he's a player that can change games on any given night with his shooting. I mean, when it's paired with the right kind of playmaker, we've seen it. Look at what Kyle Korver is able to do for us. There are nights when he literally just shoots teams out of the gym. Am I not right? When you got a playmaker of this caliber who can get you clean looks back to back to back, it's easier to get going. And when you do get going, it's easier to stay going. I've seen it happen. These shooters, they're to be respected.
I think he was paired with Chris Paul for a few years. I don't ever remember him dominating a playoff series. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm not talking about dominating the playoff series, but I'm talking about having quarters, where he can hit 3 or 4 in a quarter and change the way a game is playing out and change the tempo of a game. Oh, absolutely.
But it's not just him shooting the 3 balls for Philly. You got Bellinelli,
Covington knock a few down too.
Covington, Ilyasova, and then you got the first pick of the draft coming off the bench.
Don't jump, sir. Don't jump, sir. Ain't you been seeing what he been doing? What were you thinking? He jumped hard too, like he swung at the ball and everything. I said, oh, he just knew he was gonna get that. That boy was doing them calf raisers. I know how I feel. You in front of the bathroom mirror doing them calf raisers, and you feeling real bouncy.
You talking about the dunk LeBron had?
I'm talking about, when he slammed on Ilyasova, man. That boy was feeling gassed up off them calf raisers.
What was your biggest takeaway from the game for the Cavs and Sixers?
For the Cavs and Sixers, I think that what is sealed in for me is what I'm going to have to say about LeBron 20 years from now when we talking about the greats is that boy really couldn't shoot no free throws. Like, that's really what it boiled down to for me, and it sucks. Outside of, and that's just strictly for LeBron. I'll speak to what it said about us as a team in a minute. But, it was disappointing, to have LeBron not give us the opportunity to go to OT. You know what I'm saying? I think they gave him the foul for that. They like, oh, shit. Shoot. It ended up being a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
How about, I think we'd all be okay, watching a little more of this.
Yeah.
Send it to OT, fellas. And, they gave it the go-ahead, and he just blew it. You know what I'm saying? Just real unfortunate. He didn't even get to the last one. He blew the second one. Like, it's just disappointing, for me a little bit as a hometown fan and then as a fan of the game, him being a player at this point in his career and of this stature. And, obviously, not to take nothing from him. He didn't, But just in that moment, watching my home team, it did let me down. It did let me down. And that just locked it in for me. Like, oh no, I won't let them forget to say, I won't let people forget about LeBron's poor free throw shooting, because that just locked it in for me. Like, it's been enough games in the playoffs. It's been enough insignificant moments. But now, playing as good as I've been saying, he's the best LeBron that we've ever seen. For him to still, he's shooting, I think this year probably as bad as he's ever shot, or one of his worst years.
Yeah, I think he's 74%.
Yeah,
right now.
Right, deplorable. For, like I said, a superstar of his stature. And like I said, I believe that he can hit him, but I do believe it's a mental thing for him, because you seen him go on streaks and knock him down good, but it's a mental thing, and that's a weakness that can't be ignored.
So tell me this, because this question was asked to you before, and you said he would hit the shot. If it's Game 7 of the finals, and LeBron James has to hit a free throw to 2 free throws, if they're down by 1 point with a second 11, he can hit 2 free throws to well, no, not in that situation. I think if they're down 2 and he needs to hit 2 to put it into overtime, is LeBron going to hit the free throw? I think he'll hit it if they down 1. He going to drown both of them. But if he got to tie the game,
I don't know, man. I won't even say that he'll hit. I feel like, because I done seen him come up there too confident, wiping his hands all on his chest, and then he missed one to, like you said, to win it. So, I don't know, man. At this point, I don't know what he would do, and that's the sad thing about, about his game when it comes to free throws. But, he's got so many other great things about him, and like I say, if
44 and 11 and 11, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah. Yeah, and not only that, but the fuel us from behind the way that he did, because we opened up that third quarter, and that second unit didn't give us the type of lift that I would have promised you we needed if we was gonna come back. And him and Kevin Love, they came back in, and LeBron just went to work, and he was the best guy out there until those free throws, and then it was Ben Simmons after that. just for that night, it was Ben Simmons after that. I can't even lie.
Does that Philly team scare y'all?
Not right now, but they like when he grow up. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like it's kind of like LeBron's first or second year in the league. You just like, man, this kid is really good.
Well, how long did it take LeBron to get to when we lost to the Spurs? What year that was LeBron?
He was in year 7 or 8.
No, year 4.
Man, he did. That was his last year in Cleveland.
No, that was year 4.
Was that year 4?
2007 was when we went to the finals.
What did he do his last year? Oh, I know.
We got knocked out.
I was by the Celtics. I was at that game.
Yeah.
I'm tripping. I was at that home game.
So they might be a few years away, but if Joel Embiid comes back healthy, that could be a problem, because they got the shooters. You can't double Ben Simmons, and you ain't gonna be able to double Joel Embiid, and we don't have no big man that can check Joel Embiid. And if LeBron doesn't, LeBron going to have to check Ben, which he didn't check him at all the last game. He likes to play that safety.
And that was a mistake.
Yeah, I think he'll take the challenge though.
LeBron, yeah, I think he will too.
I don't know. I think
Ben Simmons was showing him that sauce to let him know, like, it won't be no easy task. He had his sauce on full display.
And the one thing about Ben, though, he's a pretty good defender too.
He want to defend.
Yeah. He's an excellent. For a young kid, a lot of these young kids, they don't like to defend. Ben Simmons can play some defense, not just steals. He's a above average to good defender right now. I
agree, and he gets the rebounds. Yeah. This guy's averaging over 8 rebounds playing the point guard position. He's not a true point guard.
Absolutely, and he should. And definitely, all of the praise that you just gave him, Pops, is quite warranted. And I'm surprised. I don't hear you. I got to go back and watch Ben Simmons even harder now, because Pops just gave him some credit. You don't see Pops giving a lot of love to the young guys.
Does Fultz make a difference this year in these playoffs?
No.
He has the ability. I think he'll have a big game in the playoffs. You could tell he has game, but that's just amazing that you have the first pick of the draft coming off your bench, on a playoff team. But let's head out west for a minute, man. It was another some good West games. You had the Thunder face the Warriors and lost 111 to 107. Russ had 44 points, shooting 57.
Man, listen, I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and give him that stat line. Then I got something to say.
Shooting 58% from the field, and he also had 16 rebounds, and KD dropped 34 points. But the Thunder lost to the Warriors, man. What are y'all takes on that game?
Let me tell you something. The Golden State Warriors, without their leader, Stephen Curry, and I still think that in crunch time, I still think he's their best player in crunch time. You know how?
Could you repeat that?
Kevin, I still think Stephen Curry is the Warriors' best player in crunch time.
Give me that one more time, Chris.
I still think Stephen Curry is the Warriors' best player in crunch time. I mean, let's just face it. If we going to go through the record of chokes, Kevin Durant got a whole lot more chokes on his record. I mean, he came to this team choking. If I'm not mistaken,
did he choke
what is
last
we talking
year?
about?
Did he choke last year?
Wasn't no pressure last year. Choking is when the pressure is applied and you lose. There was no pressure. Last time he faced some pressure, I think he was up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors. And then there was some pressure to close it out for 1 game, 2 games, even 3 games. And he blew it every single time. I mean, I wish I had the shot records for those 3 games. Oh, it was
Curry blew a 3-1 record himself.
Hey,
right, Chris.
He did. Hey, he did. He did. He blew
that
one.
First
He
championship,
blew one himself.
Check
it out. He also looked the king. He also looked the king eye to eye. He also looked the king eye to eye, and he didn't flinch, and he got him
2015.
He also looked the king eye to eye, and he didn't flinch
gave
too,
him some problems too, Chris. Don't forget about that.
He did.
He was outstanding last year in the playoffs.
He
did,
I
gotta give it to him. He was outstanding.
You know, to make no mistake about who Curry is, man. He's standing on his own. Kevin Durant not standing on his own in this league. Not to me, as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's somebody he running up behind people for rings, man.
I guess outplaying the best player in the world doesn't do anything for your resume, huh?
So what if
he didn't listen? Let me say something to you. He didn't outplay LeBron. How do you outplay somebody and you got this, the 3rd best guy in the league? He on your team. Not the 3rd best guy in the league. He playing on your team with you. What pressure are you facing? Where's the adversity?
Kyrie and Kevin Love on his team.
So
some people would tell you they'd rather have Kyrie than Steph.
Who would say that?
Some people have said that. You don't think Kyrie outplayed Steph in 2016?
Man, I think he outplayed him at the end of games because of that, and that's an opportunity afforded to him by the 4th quarter efforts of LeBron James. I mean, what I'm saying is the 4th quarter effort. LeBron, the effort that he gives the whole game is what allows Kyrie to be special in the last 5 or 6 minutes. That's what I'm telling you.
So hold on, are you saying Curry is better than Kyrie?
I think Curry is better than Kyrie if you're talking about I'm taking a guy to start a franchise with. Now, if you're talking about, Curry better than Kyrie. He's got a more whole game.
What about 2016, Chris?
He got Curry. Hey, listen, Kyrie is one of the best ISO players in the league. I think he's the 2nd best ISO player in the league, and he's one of the greatest offensive talents of all time. When you talk about trying to stop Kyrie mano-a-mano for a bucket, listen, that's a game that anybody can lose. You're probably going to lose. That's what he does. Kyrie, he's just the great. Hey, I said it when he was here. We had the greatest in the clutches. Kyrie is just the clutches. He just the clutches. He know how to get the hard buckets in the biggest moments. That's why Kyrie's special. But Kyrie is nowhere near being. He's not top 5 best guys in the league. Like, let that be understood. And that's what the move to Boston is going to, show and make plain for everybody and illuminate that fact. He, when you talk about a whole game, no, he's nowhere near the best. I think Stephen Curry, he's a better facilitator in the sense that he's just a better facilitator. His passing ball skills is better. His vision is better. He knows when to. He got a better feel for when to attack and when to give it up. I mean, he played better without the ball, moving without the ball. I mean, he better than him. But when you talk about one-on-one ISO situation, I mean, Kyrie, you could argue that he best in the business. And I think maybe if anybody who's saying that they would take him over Curry, maybe that's what they thinking. But when it come to leading a team and like being the best on the team,
I think if you look at that series though, Chris, if Kyrie outplayed him,
I mean, and they say Steph was hurt too. I mean, they say
we all hurt at the end of the season, man. Everybody hurt.
And I understand that. I'm not gonna make no excuses for him. And he did. But people get outplayed. Kyrie's a great player. Did you not hear me say I think he's one of the greatest offensive players that this game has ever seen?
I would say, in my opinion, I think Steph outplayed Kyrie last year in the finals. You agree with that?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's closer than you make it out.
Man, and what we I mean, it is. It's closer. It's closer. But, I mean, like I said, to me, like, I don't know. To me, if you put Steph with LeBron, I don't even think it's relatively close though with just those two guys. Like, I don't think it's close. If you put Kyrie on the Warriors and then you put Steph with LeBron with our team, and then Steph, LeBron, and Kevin Love versus Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson. Oh, we gonna win that hands down.
You agree with that,
Hands down. Yeah, we gonna win that hands down. Ain't nothing to think about, bro. If you know basketball, think about the type of looks that Curry just ain't gonna miss. He not gonna miss them. And them the type of looks that LeBron James is gonna manufacture. And Curry is a great off-ball player. He's great. He's not good. He's great.
You might be right. You might be right.
No, I'm definitely right.
That don't mean that.
I can see Kevin having the same problem with Kyrie that he had with Westbrook. Honestly, I really can. I really can.
Know, man. I'm kind of partial to Kyrie, though. I don't know.
I know.
Well,
I know
he hit the biggest shot of our sports fandom, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. He did. And, man, don't get it twisted. I think that he's the greatest ball handler in the league. I think that he's the second greatest offensive talent or ISO talent. I'm talking about getting a bucket. You know, it cancel out playmaking and facilitation and all that, but getting a bucket. This man's will and ability to get a bucket versus your will and ability to stop him. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm assuming you're saying James is number one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Due primarily to the fact that he's 6'6", man. A lot bigger, a lot stronger.
What about Russell Westbrook?
I think Russell, you know, at times, you know, he OC, he could be coached into taking bad shots. These guys are offensive maestros, and they just operating with a little bit better efficiency, a little bit greater level of control. And I'm talking about in the sense that Russell Westbrook is number one in turnovers. Harden, is he number 2 or 3? I think LeBron number 2.
Where's LeBron?
And Harden is number. LeBron number. It was the top 3 is Harden, Westbrook, and I know Westbrook is number 1. I believe LeBron is number 2 and Harden is number 3. If I'm not mistaken.
As far as when you're saying that one ability to get a bucket, is LeBron up there?
As far as like ISO guys,
yeah,
he in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he in the top 3.
You're saying he's not as good as Harden or Kyrie, either one of them at getting a bucket. If you had to get a bucket,
his shooting isn't as good as either one of those guys.
Shooting isn't as.
And that's what hurts.
And then here's this piece, and his shooting isn't as good as either one of those, in sense that that kind of narrows his options more down in the clutch minute to go into the lane. Not only is it harder to get a foul call in that situation, but he's not a guy who feels real comfortable knocking him down. So that's what hurts his stock even a little bit more.
Is Kevin better also?
Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
No. I mean, Kevin hasn't done anything to make me feel like that.
Then where's LeBron? As far as I'm talking about just getting a bucket. If you need a bucket, where's LeBron? You just said Harden and Kyrie. Who else is better at just getting a bucket? You need
LeBron might. I guess when you say getting a bucket, is this the same question as who's the best scorer or better scorer? Because I would think LeBron is a better scorer than Kyrie.
No, it's just if you need a bucket.
It's an ISO situation.
Yeah, ISO situation.
ISO situation.
Near the end of the game.
This is ISO capability.
Yeah, who can get you a bucket best? He's saying that James is number 1.
One-on-one.
Are you saying Kyrie's
buckets.
number 2?
This
I'm
is
saying where's LeBron after that?
Right.
Kyrie might be number 1.
I think I think that's something to argue. That doesn't sound crazy to me. I just think at 6'6", you know, a 220, 225, whatever the case may be.
How can you say that Steph's a better player?
How can I say that Steph's a better player than
Kyrie?
Well, I know I've always said Steph
We're
seems
talking
to
about
control the game more than Kyrie has always had,
exactly.
and that's one of the reasons that I understand why people say
Crunch time is
Steph.
crunch time. Ain't that where you make your name?
Yeah, though, but if I control the first 3 quarters, we might not get to crunch time.
Yeah, and not only that, but we not even talking about necessarily. I do think Kyrie is the clutches, but I think Steph is in that mix too. When you talk about the clutches, he a top 5 clutch guy.
Well, where's LeBron? Y'all, I'm gonna answer that question too.
I guess what's the question? Because if you ask me, I don't think Kyrie's
There's a lot of different questions being thrown out there. Everybody want to equate one conversation to another.
I need a bucket right now. Who do I go to? Who are the top 5 when I need a bucket right now?
I'm going KI number 1.
You want to?
I'm going James Harden at number 1.
Who's number 2?
Kyrie.
Durant.
Harden's not number 2 there?
Not for me.
Where's LeBron? I need a bucket right now.
Out of respect to him, he gonna be in the top 5
for me. LeBron number 3 over Kevin for me.
I'm going James.
I got Kevin at number 4.
And I got LeBron number 4.
Then, anybody considering Lillard?
For number 5.
I'm going to go Steph before Lillard.
Yeah, Steph at number 5.
To get a bucket?
Man, to get a
before
bucket.
Lillard?
Yeah.
So those are probably.
No, you know what? I'm gonna go with Steph at 4, and I'm gonna go with KD at 5.
So Lillard's not in your top 5.
No.
Okay. I guess that's not a bad 5. So those are the guys. Hey, I need a bucket now. Those are the guys.
Yeah. Lillard might be top 5 clutches guys though. If we did that, if we did that, he'd probably be top 5 clutch.
Maybe.
What do y'all think about John Wall saying he doesn't get the same calls as LeBron James? He doesn't deserve them, or he just don't know?
He don't deserve them.
Okay.
What? And not only that, but John, no offense, I just don't think you that good.
Is he?
I don't think people filing you the way they file LeBron. They don't have to.
Is he better than Bill?
I don't know. And that's crazy because he's made that a discussion. I don't know. You know, and I used to want to give John Wall that credit because of the defensive end. But, I mean, not only is, like, it be seeming like when I see him in the big matchups, he's not, like, a great defender. But, I mean, I feel like Bill, he's a guy he'll try on the defensive end. And I've seen him make plays on the defensive end, like, you know, in crunch time, late in games to get them over the top. Like, he's that type of star. He's a guy, when you notice.
Gotten better off the bounce, too.
Yeah, he has. He's gotten better off the bounce. He's gotten better in the pick and roll. And I think that he's a guy who the game slowed down for him a little bit, and he's starting to understand winning time. He's starting to understand, you know, how it is that you, you know, snatch the momentum in the game, and how it is that you put your team on a winning trajectory. And, you know, he's a big-time second-half guy, too. So, Bill is a guy who definitely, he's on the rise. He's a little bit younger, you know, and you seen him kind of coming this thing under John Wall. And, you know, sooner or later, you know, they're going to have to make a decision, and I've already made the prediction. I told, I think it was one of our viewers, I was having a discussion with one of our listeners, rather, and I said, oh, yeah, not this summer, but next summer, John Wall's going to be on a trading block.
Well, I was just going to ask, it may be this summer. If they get knocked out right now in the 8th seed, you know, if they get 4-0, no way you can keep those 2 guys. There's no way. You can't go into next year keeping those 2 guys.
Hey, getting back to our prior
Well, my
question.
whole thing is, and the only reason why I'm going to argue with you a little bit is because Toronto doing it.
Hey,
I think a lot of people got 2 guys who are pretty good, but they just can't get over that LeBron hump. So they trying to, like, wait out LeBron a little bit, or wait for him to get old, or wait for him to slow down. Don't nobody want to give up their thing that's almost good enough for a situation that you don't know is gonna be better, and then next year LeBron might break down next year, and slow down just enough to where maybe with one more piece or the right moves we can have a shot.
Hey,
so I think that's everybody's mindset in the East right now.
Final thought on that last question. I didn't hear y'all talk about Westbrook as far as being able to get you a bucket. He can't do that with those other guys?
He can do that, but I think Russell is more of a top 10 guy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that he's not 6 or 7, but I think that he's more of a top 10 guy when I think of that situation, and not necessarily a top 5 guy. Certainly not a top 3 guy for me. He's more of a bucket. Right. He's more of a top 10 guy for me. Not in the league right now. Not all time, but just the guys in the league right now. He's still in the top 10 conversation. Not necessarily the top 5, and definitely not the top 3 for me.
And you agree with that, Des?
I mean, now that you say it, I wouldn't be mad at putting him in the top 5, but I guess his decision making, he may take a bad shot before, a lot of the other guys that we have named. I think that's kind of where he falls out of the top 5. Is he going to settle for, that couple dribbles and just pull up shot, But I mean,
and I do feel like he clutch, and I mean that's why it's a lot of people in the league. It's a lot of guards in the league. It's a lot of guys who had the opportunity. It's a guy on every team who get the opportunity to take these last shots, and we saying, he in the top 10. And he probably not the 10, so he's high. But when you talk about the top 3 and the top 5, these are the best of the best. And like Russell, his decision making and things like that, is not always the greatest in those later situations. But I do feel like certain players, they need a certain type of magic. And a certain just that magic to their game. Mike had it, Iverson had it. They just guys who can come up with big shots and big makes in those, seemingly, improbable situations. And he definitely has that magic to his game. He definitely has that clutch factor. He definitely got that Mamba mentality. You know what I'm saying? He can come up with the big shot, the unbelievable shot, the just flat out, I'm a dog, I'm going to kill you mindset. He has that for sure. Make no mistake about it, though.
None of these guys that we're talking about, are they in the Kobe, Iverson ilk as far as, hey, I need a bucket and then go get it? Maybe is Kyrie that good? Is James that good? Is LeBron that good in the Iverson Kobe mode?
Yeah.
They're right there with those guys?
Yeah, those guys that you mentioned, Kyrie, LeBron James, even Russell Westbrook, I think with the mentality, the way that he goes after it and gets after you, absolutely. As far as like being a pit bull like that and having the right mentality for it, I think LeBron has grown into it. Kyrie was obviously, he seems like a guy who was just born with it. You know what I'm saying?
So between us three, the top 2 we're saying are Harden and Kyrie right now.
If I need a bucket, yeah.
If I need a bucket.
Just a bucket, ISO situation.
We do have a question, man. Somebody sent us through the email. I'll let you guys kind of discuss. If you guys want to contact us, man, we're always open for different topics, man, and different perspectives. We have Aaliyah Harrell from Copley, Ohio. What do you think the Cavs could have done better to be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals? To be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
What do I think we could have done better?
This year,
I'm going to say nothing.
Yeah, because they LeBron and them, they don't.
When you overhaul your team in the middle of the regular season.
They don't take a regular season.
I mean, LeBron is the only superstar.
He doesn't take a regular season. He doesn't even take it seriously.
And to me, he's the only superstar who, the way that he plays, he's the only one where people are able to kind of fit around him to where you can even do that. Yeah, but he's the only guy whose game is so big.
He didn't value it for years. He didn't value it in being the number 1 seed. He simply doesn't value. He values the team playing well down the stretch and being healthy.
So you think that it was solely about what he wanted and his desire, like he didn't desire it? You don't think it had nothing to do with us overhauling the team in the middle of the league?
Of course, if you had a better team, but I just don't think these past few years winning a whole bunch of games has been a priority.
I mean, I'm talking about us synergizing as a team and as a unit. Like, that takes time. You have to become familiar with guys. You aren't, equating any of, our growing pains or any of the losses to that more so rather than, the team not being good enough.
No, I don't think we were good enough for one reason. So I don't think it was anything we could. I agree with you there, Chris. But we couldn't have done anything this year, really, to be the number one seed. But I'm saying, from a mentality standpoint, in my opinion, LeBron hasn't prioritized winning a whole bunch of regular season games in years. He knows that if he can get to the playoffs healthy, with his energy level good, that he can get to the finals. And that's what's important to him. And you really can't argue with that. I mean, of course you'd like to see him play harder during the regular season. That's been my one complaint over the years with them.
But you know what, this year?
But they didn't have the talent this year.
Yeah, but let me just talk about his game and what he's put on the court from an individual standpoint. Man, he has been must-see TV, Showtime basketball, at least since All-Star break. Yeah. If you a Sports Center guy, even if you're not a big-time basketball guy, even if you just a highlight guy, I mean, you seeing him every week. You seeing what he's been doing, serving up monster jams.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, Chris, we talked about that last week. It's an 82-game season.
It is an 82-game season, but when you talk about playing hard,
LeBron pouted for
let's
2.5 weeks.
Hold on. Yeah, but I'm
3
saying
weeks. He pouted for 3 weeks.
I understand that, but let's not bash the product. I still think that at the end of the day, he's one of the NBA guys. I mean, make no mistake about it. It's the reason why his stature is what it is in the NBA and has been for so long. He's putting one of the best products on the floor, night in and night out.
But he pouted for 3 weeks, Chris. You know he did.
I mean, I won't argue this, but at the same time, when you a star and you somebody who can produce the way that LeBron can, and you're somebody trying to accomplish the things that he's trying to accomplish, you got to hold guys accountable, and you got to do that, however it is that your leverage allows. And that's exactly what he did.
Oh, well, he did. But it's still, hey, if y'all good with the he'll probably get to the finals again.
Hey, I'm good with the finals trips, and I'm good with the success, and I'm good with the having winning teams, and I'm good with the having an entertaining franchise.
But I'm good with
Chris. Having a popping downtown situation. I'm good with all of that, baby. I'm good with the deep playoff runs.
And you're good with the popping for 3 weeks,
man.
Right?
I'm good with all of it. If LeBron come with it, man, I'm good with it.
Well, you got.
If LeBron come with it, I'm good with it. Ask my city. We done talked about it. We good with it, man. As long as LeBron gonna be here, we'll take it.
I can't knock the kid. But let's tell the truth about the kid. He pounded for about 3 weeks.
He did. Nobody is we not disputing that. But what I'm saying is I rarely catch him doing things, without reason. You know what I'm saying? And he's somebody, I trust him before I trust, a lot of what these guys is doing. He seems like he's somebody, he got a plan on how he want to get it done. And he's got a method to his madness. And, until it start working, that's when I question it. But until
you can't knock the results. He gets you to the final.
All right now.
So something else LeBron James is pouting about, man. Who owns Barbershop Talk, man? Right now, we got Nick Saban versus LeBron James. I mean, I know people who don't know the story, man. This isn't a basketball game or a football game. This is who owns the rights to talk sports in a barbershop setting.
Well, Brown said the lawyers will figure it out. Hey, LeBron, I didn't know you came up with people in the barbershop talking sports. I saw it on the movie Coming to America, man.
Don't
now
play
all
with
of a
that,
sudden
man.
it's yours. Brian, you Cleveland, you Northeast
don't play
Ohio.
With that, man. Y'all can play with the Kings.
Hey, you Northeast Ohio's main man, but Brian, I don't know if you came up with that barbershop stuff, man.
Hey, y'all better stop playing with them Cleveland boys, man. Maverick Carter and them. Them boys from Cleveland.
Hey, Brian, I saw it on Coming to
they from Cleveland.
Hey, Brian, I saw Eddie Murphy and them doing it Coming to America, man.
Hey,
and all of a sudden,
LeBron done put a spin on that. That was in the movie, man. LeBron done put a whole nother spin on it.
And all of a sudden, it's Brian's
Stop
idea,
playing
right?
with them boys from Cleveland, Nick Saban. You heard what they said now. Stop playing with them boys, man.
Hey, Brian, if
not about that money, Nick. Let's not fall out by no paper,
hey,
Nick.
Hey, Brian, I'm with you.
Let's not fall out by no paper now. Come on now. You get money, we get money. Let's not fall out by no paper.
So you taking Nick's side, and Chris, you taking LeBron's side.
You know it. Hey, the way LeBron came at him, I mean, I know how they'll try to play it. So it just seems, it's equating up for me about right. You know what I'm saying? And LeBron addressed it, and I know he addressed it in a way that he wouldn't have came like that unless he had the paperwork to back it up. He had the black and whites to back it up.
Okay.
So,
I don't know about that one, Brian, but if
I'm
you
just
can pull
telling
it off, I'm
since
with you,
when, and Nick Saban ain't no chump and he ain't no scrub. So if he blew down on Nick Saban about that business, then you know he got the black and whites to back it up. I'm saying them Cleveland boys ain't gave me no reason to disrespect or doubt their business acumen. It's top notch. Yeah, shout out to him.
Brian, make sure you watch Coming to America, my man.
Hey, man.
Well, I can see because
Shout out Rich Paul and them, man. For
Nick
real.
Saban's show is called Shop Talk, and LeBron's show is The Shop.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar.
It's the concept.
It's kind of
Well, they're
similar.
arguing over the name, that's different. But
Yeah, it's the
barbershop
concept.
talk has been around for years, as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Well, it says your continued exploitation of Shop Talk infringes uninterrupted copyright, trademark rights, and other valuable intellectual property rights in the shop, and significantly damages uninterrupted commercial prospects for the shop.
Yeah, it is. You heard what the paperwork said.
hey, you know what LeBron
You got
said?
them black and whites, man.
Hey, let the lawyers will figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, and that little piece right there, that just said it all. Now, you know that's in black and white, man. When you got the black and whites speaking on your side like that, man, you know what's finna happen.
So, man, we kind of talked about this player earlier, Kyrie Irving. Man, he's out for the rest of the season. Can the Celtics advance to the second round without their two best players? You know, they lost Gordon Hayward earlier, and now Kyrie's out.
And it's a good chance to kind of jump on something. And, you know, when I see, you know, a team have a season like the Celtics are having right now, and, you know, I think we can kind of, I hope that we can all agree that the chances that they come out and represent the East in the finals are relatively slim. But at the same time, I think this season is invaluable to them. You know what I'm saying? And they young players and the growth opportunity that it presents for them. And, you know, everything that it gives them a chance to, you know, show the franchise and show themselves and show each other the way it gives them the opportunity to come together. You know, me personally, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see Jaylen Brown in these playoffs. He's somebody who already stepped up before as a rookie. I think just with Kyrie being out pretty much, you know, in and out the lineup all year, and then definitely going into this playoff stretch, he's somebody I'm sure he's had to been a leader for younger guys like Jason Tatum to look to. And it's also obviously a bevy of other young leaders and young guys who stepped up, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart among them. But I said all that to say, what does this season mean for a team like the Celtics? Obviously, not necessarily poised to really contend and compete for a championship, but obviously, it just the scope of the entire season as far as what it means for the young players moving forward, especially being able to add two huge stars in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, hopefully at some point next season.
I think the experience will be invaluable. But getting back to his question, who are they looking like they'll be matched up against? Is that Washington?
No, Washington's in the 8th seed, so Milwaukee. I'm going to pull that up again. Milwaukee right now, if everything stays the same. But, you know, they could face the Heat, they could face the Wizards, depending on how the rest of the season plays out.
That depends on who they're matched up against.
Yeah, and it's hard to really say right now.
Yeah, because they might and they might not. I remember last year, they were down against Chicago for the point
Rajon
guard.
Rondo got hurt.
Rajon got hurt, so
I do think
that's
this
totally
team
two
is
different teams,
though.
though.
Yeah.
It's two different teams.
And not only, and even the players that are alike and that are the same, I think Terry Rozier's at a different place right now.
yeah, he's a much better, much more confidence, and you know, he's from Shaker Heights. A lot of love to him, and I don't see him shrinking in a moment. You know, he's got heart. Plays hard.
Their whole team got hurt. A lot of those guys do.
Yeah, a lot of hard-nosed guys. A lot of those, just those guys that do the little stuff for a championship team. You hear, you know, championship coaches and players talk about it all the time. You need certain guys that give your team a certain kind of grit and a certain kind of character and certain kinds of energy that they just bring every night. And I think about Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier specifically.
But
I
Marcus
just think
Smart
that
won't be back
so
for the first
big.
round, right? He won't be back for the first round, right?
Marcus Smart won't be back for the first round because that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said,
I think
they'd
have a problem with Washington. I really do.
Man, I think they could have trouble
with anybody. At this point.
I mean, honestly, don't think. I think the Heat are a team. You know what I'm saying? With Dwayne Wade back, and he had it.
Who?
He had a. Hey,
who?
listen.
Come on. What the top 3 shooting guards of all time?
Who? Yeah, I mean. Listen, if you don't know,
36 years old.
Look,
can you
if
name
you don't
10?
know who that is, we gonna have to find a replacement for the podcast. We gonna have to get you a stand-in until you can figure out who that is.
Well, why we let him out of here then, Chris? If he's gonna be so valuable in the playoffs.
Well, I think just in Miami, I think he's gonna synergize those guys, the leadership. More importantly, he's been there before, and Miami a team that's kind of came on and just been kind of. Hanging in the balance, even when Waiters going down, they just been kind of coming on and finding ways to hang in there and hang in the playoff picture. They fortified. That's what I mean when I say that. I mean, they used to the test of a battle. You know what I'm saying? They used to the chips being down. They not scared of nothing. That's a dangerous team in the playoffs.
Would y'all be excited to see? I know the playoffs can change, but if they were to stay this 3-6 matchup, would y'all like to see Whiteside and Embiid go at it for a series? And who do you think would get the better of who?
I think that's the guy that would definitely. That's an intriguing matchup.
Gonna get the best of Whiteside.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I ain't gonna lie.
They done cut Whiteside's minutes. Des, he cried about his minutes, man.
Well, you know,
in favor of who's getting those minutes?
They've been running
smaller lineups.
Yeah, and to me,
can you go small against Embiid?
Right. No, I mean, I think that
Embiid has killed him in their matchups there.
I thought I saw one that wasn't not too long ago where Whiteside got the best of him. Well, we'll see,
man. No, like I say, when you talk about matchups on the big man side, though, there's not a whole lot of guys that you could throw at Embiid, especially in the Eastern Conference. And, I like that matchup on the big man side, and I do. I think that it's not even necessarily about Whiteside, stopping him cold and stymieing him completely, but slowing him down enough to where, I mean, that's still a young team. This would still be Ben Simmons' first playoff. He should still be Joel Embiid's first playoff. I mean, it's like I said, savvy, wily old vets on that Miami Heat team, guys that know the way. That, I mean, they can lose that series. Don't think that they can't lose that series.
Oh, yeah, without Kyrie, I would think they could lose against anybody.
Well, that's Philly and the Heat.
Yeah, I'm saying Philly and the Heat. Okay. Don't think that Philly is like so good now that they've transcended, the rookie blues. They coming at some point. Listen, all I'm saying is at some point they will fall short. Whatever the test may be, there will be a moment. And, rather it be closing out this regular season or when they get into the playoffs where they fall short due to inexperience. That's what I'm telling you. It's a fact that I know. I've seen it once before. It will be a moment where you say, hey, that changed things for them. Might not necessarily be what you want to call the difference between winning and losing or a playoff series, but you'll say, hey, that was a moment and it was significant and it happened because they were inexperienced. And I'm telling you that because I know it.
And you're telling me that Miami could beat Philly in a 7-game series?
And I'm telling you, that Miami can beat Philly in a 7-game series. That Dwayne Wade can get it going and have one final hurrah for the city of Miami. You know what I'm saying? He can bring back some of that, the way of Wade and bring back some of that Miami magic. I'm telling you that Hassan Whiteside can match up and play extremely competitively with the young Joel Embiid. I'm telling you that Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they could come up with a game plan to fluster and offset and trip up the young Ben Simmons and that they can catch him slipping. I'm telling you that all these things can happen because I know it. It's just what I'm telling you, man.
Man, how y'all feeling, man? We've been talking about basketball a lot. Y'all ready to move on or it's a couple things that we got on the docket, but
I mean, what you mean? I'm talking sports, man. I talk sports, so you know what I'm saying? Let's talk a little football, man.
All right, man. It was 2 big trades this year with at the NFL wide receiver position.
Oh yeah, I think I'm familiar with who you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Shout out the home team. One of those moves made by the Cleveland Browns acquiring LaRon Landry. And give me the not LaRon Landry, but Jarvis Landry rather. Pardon me. And then obviously it was the Patriots sending Brandon Cooks out of town for a first rounder. Let us get the numbers and the specifics on that, Des.
So Pats traded Brandon Cooks to the LA Rams and a 4th round pick for a first round pick, 23rd overall, and a 6th rounder. And Browns traded Landry for a 2018 4th round pick and a 7th rounder in 2019. I guess out of these 4 teams, you got Miami, you got the Browns.
Hold on, I'm about to make a crazy prediction. I'm just feeling something crazy right now. The Patriots, that 6th rounder that they got, they gonna draft their next quarterback. That's gonna be their next time.
Well,
they go with the 6th rounder.
Well, you know the rumor is that the first pick is the next quarterback, that they wanted what's his name? Rudolph. I can't think of his first name.
I knew it was gonna be somebody who nobody was hip to. Where is he out of? Like what?
Oklahoma State. 6'5", but he only played 1 season at quarterback. But 6'5", big arm, a little athletic. You know, they had him in this week actually. I think on Thursday or Friday. You know, the Patriots had brought him in to work him out. I think Kevin Rudolph or something like that. I can't think of his name.
Okay.
But I guess that's what
that name sounded a little familiar.
But they're saying he won't make it past the Ravens. So, but that's the guy that Mason Rudolph, I think, is who they thought they may be able to get. So they may try to make another move and move up. But I guess that's the guy that, you know, they want him to take over the reins after Brady leaves. And I guess this was a guy that Pittsburgh may have been looking at too.
Hey,
so they
great
jumped in front of Pittsburgh. They jumped in front of Pittsburgh, which made me to question why, if Pittsburgh and the Patriots are both going after this one guy, why is nobody talking about him?
Because listen, and it's a certain way that don't think that there aren't certain ways that the good franchises are maneuvering. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain way, you know, that they are trying to influence the draft and the way other teams pick. So, and I mean, like I say, for it doesn't behoove a team or a front office for you know, guys around them to know exactly what it is they want to do or to be liking who they're liking. Like, it just, you know, that doesn't behoove them. So
Mason Rudolph, that's the guy's name. But back to the original question. Who do you think got the best out of the trade, Chris? You know, do you think the Patriots able to get a first round pick for Brandon Cooks was a big deal, or, you know, the Browns being able to get Landry for a 4th round pick, was that a good deal? I guess my honest opinion is probably the Miami got the worst deal out of everybody. I think Brandon Cooks is a really good fit for the Los Angeles Rams after they lost Sammy Coates, so not Coates, Sammy Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Rams did a good job of getting Brandon Cooks, and they're talking about signing him long term. So I would have to go with I'd go with the Patriots so far, man, and the Browns probably at second, just because the Browns haven't had a receiver as good as Landry in a long time, or has put up the numbers that Landry has.
And like I say, when you look at the situation, I see why you said that, Dez. And when you're looking at, you know, I don't want to call it an amateur's perspective, but when you look at when you give yourself a little bit more details, obviously, Brandon Cooks, he's a younger guy, and sure, he has comparable numbers. And I'm not to say that he isn't accomplished. I think he's got the most touchdowns since he came in the league, or since a certain point.
Brandon Cooks does?
Yeah, what is it, like 24 touchdowns since like 2015 or something? I don't know, but he is a productive guy. But I think that he's a comparable player to Jarvis Landry, only in last year's numbers. Landry is the more consummate playmaker of the NFL, and he's the greater ball catcher, and I think his stature in the league, you know, even if nothing else because of his tenure in the league, is greater right now. Landry is a guy, because of that, he's in line to get paid. This young guy, he's only been at it for a smaller amount of time. He's got a smaller sampling size, and he played for the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. Then he went to the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are two, you know, high-octane, you know, very sophisticated, high-powered offenses, you know, that are going to maximize the things that you can do and optimize what you do best. I mean, Jarvis Landry, he hasn't been afforded, the luxury of playing in the offense like that, and he's still been very productive. So, and I just said all that to speak to the stature of the players. Make no mistake, Jarvis Landry is the better player here, and that's why he has the bigger price tag. But if, like I say, when you look at the whole thing and take it out of this small little bubble, and you look at the whole situation, if you look at the Browns, they're in a position where they had a lot of money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a position to pay this guy. They had the money,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, to pay the franchise tag and to ultimately sign them to, if things go well, to ultimately sign them to the tender that a prospect like him, a free agent like him, potentially would warrant.
Yeah.
They're in a position to do all of that. And I think the move actually is more comparable to, what the Patriots did with Darrelle Revis. You know what I'm saying? You saw a couple years back, they paid him the big money for one season, incentive laden, and they paid him the big money for the one season and ultimately allowed him to walk. But it took their franchise in the right direction. Got him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the move was more comparable to. And at the end of the day, certain guys, it's just they turn to get paid. Jarvis Landry is one of those guys. He's in line to get paid. That's why he was franchise tagged, and we're going to get a chance to rent him for a year, you know what I'm saying, pay him what he's worth and see if he is going to continue to be worth that and maybe even a little bit more headed into the future. That's all that's going on here, and I think it's a good opportunity and a good way of getting a chance to fully evaluate, a talent before you commit to him long term. And I think it's a good way for the Browns to take advantage of the situation.
They haven't done that yet?
They've done that, but ultimately you've seen what a guy was able to do for another team.
Well, I'm saying with Landry, they didn't.
Right.
They haven't. I thought they were. They haven't talked about a multi-year contract with him or signed him to one.
We haven't yet.
We haven't.
Okay.
We have not.
But I thought when they made the trade that was one of the first things they were going to do.
Well, he's already been franchise tagged. He was franchise tagged by Miami before he was traded. So, we could talk about it. I think he gets to play on. He's got to play on the franchise tag though. I don't think we could sign them I don't think we could sign him to anything long term. So after this year, right? You kind of got to play your franchise tag.
Well, I think you could. If you sign a long-term deal, yeah, the franchise tag is no longer there. I think he could structure a long-term deal. I just don't think they are right now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like
the talk
practice
when they got him, right?
They said that they would.
But they haven't done it yet. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
you gotta say those positive things when the guy first come, but you gotta also protect yourself.
Like I said, usually it's the common practice when the guy's on franchise tag. You want to kind of see one more year to evaluate. He's somebody where his stock and the numbers, they kind of like he's sitting on the edge. And it's a little bit more of a gamble than you want for that kind of money. So you franchise tag them to kind of see, okay,
And I'm sure they're talking numbers already. They're trying to get him right now.
Like
but
I said,
at the end of the day, we want to see what he do first.
Exactly. And guys have gotten paid, you know what I'm saying, at the wide receiver position. So, they know about where it's at. They got ideas. They figure if Odell's going for this, that, and the third, obviously to let the scale kind of fall from there.
Who's the top dogs in the AFC this year, man? I guess what's your prediction, man? Is it still the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Patriots? Can the Browns be a surprise team, man, with Tyrod Taylor?
Not to be in the top dog conversation.
So who's the top dogs?
The Browns could surprise us and win 6 games this year. They could surprise us and do that.
How many, Chris? 6.
I got them I got them at 5. You know what I'm saying? 6 or more, I'm gonna be impressed. But just because it's hard to come from winning 0 games to win 6. That's a stark change, and you got to do a lot of things different. And you got to have a lot of things go right just for the culture change, because that's shock, man. I think the way a 0-16 team does things and the way a 6-10 team does things. I know a 6-10 team that isn't a great team, but I think it's a big difference. It's a big difference, man, between not winning any games and winning 6 games.
How many games you have them winning last year, Chris, before the season?
How many games did I have them winning last year before the season? I had them winning 4. I had them winning 4 last year.
Don't laugh at this guy, man.
And that was really just because I felt like, Man, listen, we played so bad last year. I said, I know he going to be cracking the whip so hard on them boys, and they going to hopefully be so embarrassed. And ain't no way we just going to come out and catch four. We going to catch 4 teams slipping next year.
Yeah.
And, it just didn't happen like that.
So are the Patriots and the Steelers still the teams that are going to represent the AFC?
Yeah, make no mistake, man. The Patriots is still the team to beat. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're still poised to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl just like every other year. If I got a team to say that, who's the team to beat, who's still on top or who is on top, it's the Patriots.
You guys must don't have faith in the draft impacting too much because how can you talk about it before the draft?
I mean, like I said, it's just a question, you know what I'm saying, that he kind of put out there because ultimately some of the free agency has been kind of dealt with. So
most of the free agency is.
I'm not gonna say most.
Most of them are all the most.
All the big names, yeah.
Yeah, all the big names.
Yeah.
That's why the big name guys, they didn't got their money.
And so the draft won't impact the top teams at this point.
I'm not gonna
where
say
they're
that
drafting.
Because it don't get it twisted. It's B-list guys who they kind of waiting to see how much money they can get. They trying to maximize their earning potential. So they gonna see what teams do in the draft, and then that kind of affects their leverage in different situations and things like that. So there are some productive guys, you know what I'm saying, who can be difference makers still out there at different positions. I know at defensive tackle is some guys. And, so it's some names still out there at some positions. But I think that what he meant is a lot of the big splash names, at the sexier positions, you can definitely tell.
All the game changers are gone.
I ain't even going to say that. I'm going to just say, like I say, certain type of guys get the money first. You know what I'm saying? The bigger, some of the bigger money guys, they going to get the money first. You know what I'm saying? The wide receivers and stuff, top wide receiver guys, they going to get their money first. You know what I'm saying? Big names at the running back, man, they'll probably get snapped up. Like, them guys, there's certain guys that's going to get their money first. You know what I'm saying? In certain positions, it's just the way teams are built and evaluated. Certain positions, they're going to be paid out first. Defensive tackle and stuff like that, top guys, and Dominican Sue and them then got some money. But I think the second best guy, third best guys, they one of them guys who wait and just trying to optimize their situation. So I wouldn't even say that. I just feel like it's a certain way that teams evaluate by position, and it's a certain way that some franchises feel comfortable spending the money according to position. We've seen guys like Rob Gronkowski wanting to get paid like a wide receiver and stuff like that. We've seen guys take issue with this. Odell wanting to get paid like a quarterback because he feel like he's a cornerstone player that you can build around. So we've seen guys trying to kind of transcend that positional pay scale. We've seen guys trying to do away with that for themselves. But that's just a way that the teams are evaluated, and this a way that the money gets paid out.
I ain't gonna spend too much time on football, man. Then I got a baseball question for you though. 5 years from now, who would you rather have, Jose Ramirez or Francisco Lindor?
Lindor.
And why is that?
No
you know
question
that
about
already, Pops? I mean, relatively small sample size. I know they both young guys, but
Lindor just has that star quality written all over him. God bless Jose Ramirez and what he's done, but Francisco seemed like the real deal.
When you
Seemed like
say
he's gonna
star
be the
quality, though, what? I know basketball is a game all about the intangible. I mean, baseball, rather, is a game all about the intangible. When you say star quality, break that down a little bit for the,
Well, just flair for the game, ability, enthusiasm, the way the kid works, the way he's changed his body these last couple of years. If you look now, he's real cut up. Arms are huge. He's just Francisco got it, man. He just got it, and he just.
So you say he's somebody you see him setting himself up for the greater success.
Yeah, he has the work ethic, plays hard. Not that Jose doesn't. I just think, just talent wise, just he just got star written all over him. And I just think, but you gotta respect what Jose has done. But
who do you think had the better season last year?
Jose did. Overall, Jose did, but Lindor came on. He came on. He hit more home runs, but Lindor's average was down last year, and his RBIs were, he's hitting leadoff. So, but I think Jose had a better year.
So similar to our basketball question of, who if you had to have the ball in somebody's hands to hit the last shot, who do you want at bat? This is the ninth inning. Who would you rather have
between those two?
Between those two.
Lindor done proved himself pretty clutch.
I like Frankie, man. I like Frankie.
Now, I had a question, too. I know, like I said, just in the spirit of other sports that we've been talking about a lot, we talk about young guys and young stars, on the cusp of their stardom or on the cusp of their prime. How big is, in baseball, the development, you know what I'm saying, when you draft a guy? How big is it, and how instrumental are the franchises in developing a young guy, and how what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? What type of difference can they make in a guy being, let's just say a young star who doesn't necessarily come to full bloom, or, like you say, a franchise guy like Lindor who kind of is on the right track, like you say, you see him getting in shape, you see him kind of doing the things that's going to make him a staple for a long time. How instrumental is the franchise in that when you talk about baseball?
Oh, yeah. Well, player development is everything. Developing your guys at the minor league level, letting them pace themselves so when they get to the major league level, they're ready. And I think the Indians do a pretty good job. They took their time with Lindor. They didn't rush him.
Okay.
Because there were some indications that Lindor thought he was ready for the majors maybe 6 months earlier or a year earlier than he actually got called up. So the Indians do a pretty good job, and I guess most of these organizations do in developing players. But that's all on, who the coaching, the teaching, whatever at that level, and the player development. The Indians do, and the Indians guys get hired throughout baseball, as you can see. Last year, a guy who I thought was very important, pitching coach Callaway, who's now the manager of the Mets. I mean, they're and Cash was here. He's managing Tampa Bay now. So I think the Indians, as far as player development, it's everything. You got to get them ready you can't bring them up too soon, and you got to get them ready right. And I think that's what most organizations in baseball, player development, bringing them up at the right time, not rushing them. I think that's very important, just to get them up here at the right time and get them right and have them right when they get up here. I think player development is everything. Up. Yeah, and get that confidence up. So you want them. I hear Francona always talk about once they get here, you want them to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to send them back.
Yeah.
This and that. You want them ready when they get here.
I can only imagine just as an athlete thinking. You being brought up to play one level, and then it's kind of like, you get sent back down, and it's like, oh, well, am I not good enough? Did I not do something right?
Yeah. So it's just, but player development is everything in baseball.
I guess this is just a question for me, and I don't know if anybody else, or if the listeners would be interested. Has the guy that we traded to the Yankees, is he on the major league now?
No, right now I think he's in concussion protocol. So I don't know how he's gonna crack that outfield because they got those they've got Stanton, they've got Judge out there, and I think they got one more guy. So I don't know what their plans are for him.
What's his name again? Because that was your guy.
You're talking about Clint Frazier.
Yeah, Clint
Frazier. But they didn't trade him away, so maybe they plan to keep him and use him. But from what all the indications are, he had the bat speed and all the intangibles. In fact, I wish he was still here in a way. I mean, we did get Andrew Miller for him, but man, we could use his bat. Nice right. Right-handed hitting is a premium in baseball, if you ask me, especially with us. Seems like we're always looking for that right-handed hitter. A lot of these guys are left-handed hitters, and but I think they plan to. I guess at some point playing. I don't know.
Are you enjoying the beginning of baseball season? Or are you?
Yeah, well, the weather's cold. The Indians aren't hitting right now. So but I love my baseball.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like the way it was told to me by. A real savant in this baseball game on that diamond. Hey, the batting is going to come and go. It's a long season. The batting comes and goes, but as long as the staff is strong, your pitching staff is strong, and they playing some good defense for you, you always have a chance to wheel out wins. And I thought today was a prime example, like I said, as Yan Gomez, smacked the walk-off homer for us to get it done. It was a tight game. I think we ended up winning it 3-1.
And we played excellent defense today.
Excellent defense, tight game. And, we gave the bats the opportunity to warm up and get going. And, sure enough, Gomez got one out of the park for us to finish those guys off. So, like I say, I thought today was just a great example and really embodied that. But just know, as long as your staff's strong, man, your bats will get a chance to warm up.
Yeah, and they will as soon as the weather warms up. And because from what I understand, a lot of the teams have been playing in not record cold weather, but a lot of cold weather this year, colder than usual.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about. I don't know what the game time temp today was. 35 degrees or something like that?
Yeah, it's chilly out
cold.
today.
These boys from the Dominican and whatnot, man, they used to play in
Right,
the warm weather. They just come out of Arizona, so the bats will get going. But Indians, they might struggle to score some runs this year. I'm not that crazy about their lineup. We'll see. I'm not super crazy. In the past they've struggled to score. The past few years, it's not like they're tearing the cover off the ball. Pitching is what pitching.
How was it this series that I know we kind of just really got going good, on the tail end of the season, and we got hot at the right time during the playoffs. I'm saying the year that we went to the World Series.
Well, yeah,
and lost to the Cubs.
We lost a lot of games, 3-2. The Indians they haven't really tore the cover off the ball. Their thing is pitching and defense. But
how do you like that ideology? From Terry Francona, do you like that ideology? Is that a way that you feel like you can win? Because I know, I'm not gonna pretend to know a whole lot about the game, but I definitely recognize names, and it seems like when you see teams win it all or teams get good, a lot like the way Yankees are. People really excited about the Yankees because they've kind of loaded up on the batter side and the hitter side. Do you feel like that's the way you get it done, or do you feel like...
I've always been a pitching and defense guy, but
okay,
you got to score a little bit. But I've always been a pitching and defense guy because that'll keep you there. But
do you not think though that good hitting, like a good hitting staff, like those guys, when you do get in, I think that's kind of what happened to us. Like we kind of had Lindor and just a couple guys who could really hit and get on and make some big plays for us with their batting. Once we got into the World Series, I felt like the Cubs, they kind of had more guys who could do something with the stick and make plays for them, and they went down swinging with it, and that's how they kind of beat us. They beat us swinging. I just feel like in those big moments, I'd rather have a guy who's a real hitter. I feel like he's more apt to make a play in those big moments.
We had a couple Hall of Famers not in the 90s Indians team, and they had 4 or 5 home run hitters. That stack lineup, and they lost the pitchers. We lost the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, Atlanta locked us up.
We had Jim Thome.
Even though that was a flagrant strike zone in that series, though.
What do you mean by that?
If you ask Kenny Lofton and them, the strike zone was ridiculous. I mean, they were just giving Atlanta's pitchers a whole lot of leeway, maybe throwing it a little bit outside the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to this day, I've heard Kenny Lofton and a couple other guys say that's why we lost that series. Because of the liberal strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
If you got 2 or 3 inches off the plate, they call it
anybody you could throw a strike out there. Huh?
Yeah, and but they're saying that's why they lost the series. But that's a good point. That team was loaded offensively, never won anything. So it comes down,
If they would have stayed together, they might have got one.
Yeah, but they got beaten in Game 6, 1-0. All those great hitters, but Tom Glavine beat them 1-0 in a Game 6 to close out that series. So I've always been a pitching and defense guy.
Well, there it is. That's something to think about, baseball fans, as we move forward this season.
Well, and Chris, man, just a little question to you, man. I know you said you got a chance to look at a little bit of the Masters, man. I guess, did Tiger do it for you, and that's why you were interested in golf, or did it just happen to be you on and you found interest in it?
Oh, no, absolutely not, man. Tiger definitely did it for me. No other reason that I tuned in. Like I said, I've obviously been watching him and knowing his name and knowing his legacy. Since just since the beginning, since the time that I was alive, he was obviously already great, but I am familiar with him as a child prodigy and being coached by his father and all that. So I'm just a big fan of his story, man. And he's one of the greats. Obviously, I think his greatness even transcends, the sport itself. And he's a real icon. So, I mean, you want to see guys like Tiger on top. I'm cheering for him. And especially physically, you know what I'm saying? A guy, he's not really at the age to where, you see older guys like Phil Mickelson, and just older guys. You see him still having success, and Tiger. I feel like he's not a young man in the game of golf, but relatively, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he is definitely to where you expect a guy like that, as good as he is, the legend that he is, surely for him to still be competitive and fun to watch. So you just want him to get back to that point. And as far as obviously the viewing experience, he definitely did it for me. Just to see him being back out there. This is a place that you just hear about his deterioration and his downfall on in and outside of the sport. And this is just a place I didn't ever think that he'd be again. And I'm just excited for him from just a sports standpoint, enjoying sports, watching sports, all kinds. Like I said, he is an icon, and just appreciating the greats more. Especially, I think when you see one GOAT, it just started to give you a greater appreciation for them all. And I ain't gonna lie, I gotta really give it credit to LeBron, because man, just watching him do his thing, man, that was really some of the reason I tuned in too. Just like to know you're not gonna get to see these guys. Tiger, a legend, and I might not even necessarily understand all of it, but I definitely understand the pedigree of his greatness. You know what I'm saying? So I tuned into it because it's rare, and the time for it is waning.
That's a good point when you bring up LeBron, Chris, because I knock LeBron from time to time, but I appreciate his greatness, and I'm glad that we got a chance to watch him here in Cleveland for most of his career.
Absolutely.
I mean, because he is truly, I've got him top 4 players ever to play the game, and I'm glad. I'm glad that we were able to enjoy his greatness. So much love to LeBron. He's Northeast Ohio. Hope you finish your career here. Never leave. I'll kill you sometime, buddy. But it's been a pleasure to watch you play all these years.
Hey, ain't it crazy? How Cleveland natives and stuff, we talk to LeBron like we really know him, though. Like we have expectations for LeBron, like we really, but you do, you feel like you grew up watching him, you watched him.
Enjoy him while he's here, because
absolutely.
You won't see another. You might not see another one like him in your lifetime.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's just like Mike, Kareem, Magic, them guys. They don't come around often, and LeBron. If most people say he's top 10, I think he's top 4 in my opinion.
Is that before or after you?
If I'm 6'8", I'm LeBron James. Before LeBron James. No, LeBron, one of the top 4 to ever play this game, y'all. And appreciate him while he's here. With all his flaws and all his pouting and stuff, still one of the top 4. And like Chris said, when you appreciate greatness while you have it.
Let me take a little hack at him. In that game, he definitely killed it. But I wanted to draw attention to, as we do head into the playoffs, that game that we lost against Philly, he had, 44 and, whatever the stat line was. But he had 8 turnovers as well. I think it was, I think he had like 11 assists to 8 turnovers, something like that. And I was just thinking, man, that ain't real good. So,
turnovers has always been his Achilles heel for him.
Well, free throws.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
But remember, he played that game without a true point guard.
But check it out, though.
None of the point guards didn't play. But he is a true point guard, though.
Right.
In some sense.
Well, he said, now cut it out. We be comparing LeBron to Magic Johnson. Let's not disrespect Magic. If you getting mentioned in the same breath as Magic, you definitely a true point guard. So
in the same, but
cut that noise out. LeBron
he's a great passer, but is he a scorer first or a pass first? Because to me that's the
he a pass first guy to me.
I can't say that, man. You don't drop. You ain't a top 10 scorer of all time being pass first.
Well, he just a great scorer too. And that's part of what made LeBron so great. He's got superstar offensive qualities.
He can do
but
them
he's
both.
Still right. He can do both.
But he always says that's pretty good for a guy that looks to pass first. Always says that about himself. Yeah. Believe me, LeBron likes dropping buckets too.
Oh yeah, like I said,
he likes dropping.
I think in today's game you got to do it. Yeah. Today's game you got to do it. But if you look at LeBron when he was younger, like I said, I think it took time. Where he may be more apt to shoot and score now is solely, I think, because of his capability. He's more capable now than he's ever been. So you see him trying to take more on himself.
He enjoys that stat line, Chris. That 26-6-6. He loves it.
I mean, he
or
seems
27-7-7 or 26-8-8.
pretty readily. He gets it pretty readily.
He loves that stat line. He loves that stat line in the ball, so
yeah.
that's why he likes the ball in his hands a lot. But he loves putting up that stat line.
Hey, quick question. Do y'all agree with and this could be the last question, with Lou stating that Jeff Green will start for the rest of the season? Do y'all think that's the right move? And do y'all like him saying that? Like, hey, this is our guy?
I love it. I love it because to me, with Jeff Green, for one, let me just say, I think he's been one of the better additions. If not you could argue that, maybe he's the best addition. You know what I'm saying? Just for what we've seen so far, obviously we hoping a few guys are going to end up playing a little bit better than him for where we trying to go and what we trying to do. But I'm saying with that being said, Jeff Green has been, I think that he's been the type of addition that we talked about, the type of addition that J.R. Smith was when he first came and the type of addition that Iman Shumpert was when he first came. Some guys come and they just fit. And it just works, and they just get it, and they understand the Call of Duty, and they understand LeBron and his demands, and they just know how to make it work here. And to make no mistake, he's been one of those guys, and he's been that guy for me that I'm gonna give that that recognition to, at least for the regular season, as to be like on some Mr. Cavalier, the new Cavalier type, transitioning quick. This is Mr. Cavalier. He done came on in our way quickly. And, Jeff Green, definitely got to give him that credit. Man, I think I like the nod heading into the playoffs because it's good to know that, okay, it's been a season's worth now. And somebody, they recognize what I'm doing. They appreciate what I'm doing, or they believe in what I'm doing. Like, oh, no, we really see you. We see how you doing this. We see how you doing that. We believe in what you've been doing at the highest level. So I know it's got to feel good for Jeff as a player and invigorate him with confidence moving forward, that just, to get that recognition and say, hey, you the guy in crunch time in the biggest moments. We want you out there.
Yeah, because they've been kind of going with that lineup with Jeff Green, Love, JR, and I think they had Chetty out there last time. I'm saying Corver out there with that lineup as well. Is that our best
positionless basketball, man?
Yeah.
Positionless basketball. And Jeff Green, he give us the opportunity to do a lot of that, for what he can do on offense and defense. He give us the opportunity to do a lot of that. To me, that's our Draymond. Not in necessarily they don't do the same things for us, but they give us a similar kind of lift. You know what I'm saying? It's just that X factor lift. No, you're not counting on nothing crazy from him, but throughout this game, you need him to make plays for you, all kind of plays.
Yeah, he's earning the $18 million that Tristan's getting paid.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I like that. Most definitely, he certainly is.
My only problem with Jeff Green, and I don't know about the move. I have to continue to think about that, but I don't know if the guy comes to play all the time. And I don't know about that. I don't know if he comes to play all the time. I think.
What do you think? You think he's not going to play in the playoffs though?
No, I know he'll play.
Okay.
I know he'll play hard, but that's always been his. I don't know. You always thought there was more there. With his talent.
I did.
Yeah.
He was a fifth round. Not a fifth round, but a fifth pick of the draft. He's bounced around a lot more than I would have thought he would have.
But you know what? I tell you what, and then you got to remember he's had some health issues and things like that. But I feel like he's one of those guys. He gets you excited because you think of his capability.
He had a heart thing too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's had some serious health issues, but I think at the same and some of that may be the reason why. You think about his potential, and he's a guy who can do so many things. His utility is so high, and he's such a capable guy that you say, oh man, this guy, he got the potential to be so dangerous. But at the end of the day, that to me, your greatness is provided that you get great at something. And Jeff Green is one of those guys, good, not great at really anything.
Mm-hmm. I told you I heard somebody on the national talk show, an ex-player, ex-teammate of his, who spoke very highly of him, said he's going to be very important for the Cavaliers, but said got to kick him in his behind every now and then. That's what he said. So
I can believe it,
what
but
he meant by that.
If it's anybody who gonna keep their shoe on your behind,
it's LeBron.
It's LeBron.
And from just watching the games, it seems like him and LeBron do have a good relationship, and that
I agree.
You just see some of guys gravitate towards LeBron, and you can tell what guys like, especially.
And LeBron have his guys that he want to be around him and own him, running with him, hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Like they say, his whole career he ain't been doing nothing but just keep remaking that old high school team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's from, the camaraderie and everything on down. And that's why the guy, if you don't like him, it don't work out.
Yeah.
You got to like him too. You know what I'm saying? Or at least, be able to get along and coexist with him in an amicable way.
I hope we don't try to. Well, I ain't even gonna speak. I guess I was gonna say we can't give. I wonder how much if Jeff Green come out and say he want $18 million next year. Like I don't know.
Come on now.
Hey,
come on now.
Hey, he gonna sign to that to LeBron James agency.
Hey. Only way he even got that type of leverage is if we win a ring, and if we get a ring, hey, dudes can ask for whatever they want. We'll deal with that when it comes. But if we win a ring, man, you'll have every right. We might not be able to give it to you, but you'll show had a right to get it somewhere else if that's the option for you.
Y'all confident, man? As 2 games left in the regular season, man, we gonna be all right.
Yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident as ever in LeBron James and this team. I think they've kind of done just enough. It would have been nice to get that Sixers victory. You know what I'm saying? And that would have kind of like tipped me fully over, but.
We showed something though. Coming back from a 32-point game,
absolutely. And I meant to touch on that. We definitely did show something, and I'm glad that you brought that up. But it's something that, like, to me, you an effort like that. To me, you seal an effort like that with a win, because you know what I'm saying. Ultimately, yeah, it's great to come back, but losing is losing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to put a whole lot of stock in some something that we did in a losing effort.
Yeah, I thought 2 big plays that happened late in the game, aside from what LeBron missing the free throws, man. When I think Chetty Osman had 2 open threes, wide open threes. It almost seemed like they wanted, hey, we want this guy to beat us, and he's done a great job for us defensively. And I know if Corver was out there, he probably would have hit it, but. The ball just didn't fall our way. Otherwise, I think the game ends a lot different.
What position is this guy, Chetty? Like, is he playing the one?
Did you like it when LeBron shot that 3 ball? You thought that was a good shot?
I understood why he took it. The result obviously wasn't what I expected. He was trying to
pull a dagger out, right?
I mean, he was letting him know I got 44. I'm going for 47. I thought I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to get 50. I wanted him to get 50.
Listen, ain't no critiquing the guy with 44 shots.
I didn't like that shot, personally.
It probably wasn't the best shot. I thought it was a weird possession, but I mean, I wasn't mad at it though. They showed the replay a couple of times, and I think Chetty got the rebound and got fouled and went to the free throw line, so it wasn't the worst thing. We had a 4-on-1. And I ain't gonna say he settled for the 3, but he wanted to let it know, man. Like, man, he was feeling himself.
He was feeling it. It was a shot he wanted to take. And, man, LeBron, he got that right. Still had an opportunity
exactly
to, potentially win the game. Just blew it for real. So, I know. I like I said, if I'm mad at something, I'm mad at the free throws. I'm not mad at the 3. I'm mad at the free throws. That's where my issue lies.
They're gonna be all right though, man. But man, we ain't gonna talk too much about basketball, man. We talked about it a lot earlier. Next week, man. We gonna come focused, man. We gonna do our homework, man. Give y'all a wrap up of what we thought were the biggest surprises of the NBA regular season, man. We're gonna give y'all our predictions, man. So make sure you tune in next week, man. It's gonna be a great show. Y'all got anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm giving out my predictions too for all the major awards. I'm gonna go ahead and predict, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, all of that before, them other scrubs tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it really is. So I'm going to give out all my little stuff for that. And I ain't going to lie, I think I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to give out the MVP. That's what I understand it to be, and that's, the best guy throughout the regular season. That's how I'm going to be able to do that. So this is for the regular season. I know they get to take a little bit more into account, but I'm going to go off the regular season, just who's been the most outstanding to me. And then I think, it's good to talk about right here at the tail end of the regular season, obviously. How you end one season doesn't always immediately transfer over to how you may start another. But let's really, I think it's good to recognize who's hot, as we end this regular season this year. And, like, what the expectation is for them moving forward. Mm-hmm. And I got a couple guys in mind that I'm really thinking about. But man, I can't wait to see Anthony Davis get back up with Boog. I hope they're able to get something done, or just with some talent. Period. Like man, I want to see Anthony Davis play with a real contender. Like, and I like him and Rondo together, man. But man, I want to see them play with a good guard who can really score, or get Boog back, cause he's just somebody, man. I can't wait to see this dude in the playoffs. I can't wait to see him next year. He's so big time, but that's for next week.
Any last words, Pops?
Holla at you. This is the quick question. Rodney Hood, is that injury is it gonna linger? You think he's gonna be all right for the playoffs?
Well, I know you said what was the reputation he came to town with, Pop?
Being a touch soft and injury prone.
Being touch soft and injury prone, so. I hate to see a guy getting injured, this late in the season, but provided that I think more the playoffs. It's about what he does in the playoffs for me.
So that was just precautionary the other night?
I think so.
Well, they say it's Achilles, though, man. That's Achilles are taken very serious. I know ain't that the injury that Kobe went out with, and I've seen other guys,
Yeah, but he didn't tear it or anything, did he? He was just sore or something?
What's that mean?
I don't know. I just hope he's
I guess I've had some sort.
Part of ability is availability.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he's not gonna
be ready for the playoffs.
Right. Well, tell me this: is he in our top 8 rotation guys?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah. We gotta have his lift that he brings. I think him and Clarkson both. We need their mid-range games. We need their mid-range games to help keep the floor honest, and not only that, but it's just a lot of room for those kind of shots. We shoot a lot of threes, and then obviously LeBron.
I'm interested in seeing how Clarkson performs in the playoffs.
Me too.
I really am.
He's my guy to watch.
Yeah,
he's my guy to watch because I think he's gonna get.
I like his offensive
role.
game. I like the fact that he's not afraid.
He's not afraid.
He can get to the cup.
Afraid.
He got a nice mid-range game. He can get the 3 ball.
To be honest, I think Clarkson or Hood fall out the top 8. Just thinking about it, because you got Hill and Calderon coming back. If we stick with Calderon, I mean, I guess
to me, it's Hill who gonna fall out the top 8.
That was your savvy vet. Now he's falling out the top 8.
I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it's Calderon now. Calderon kind of honestly, like the way the numbers panned out in like this last little stretch.
He plays well when he's on the floor.
They play
Calderon, I agree.
well. And then when you think about it, man, LeBron, you got to think about what he does. Like we say, the way he holds the ball and the way he tries to spoon feed everybody, everything. At times he can make the offense stagnant. I think Calderon is a guy who just kind of moves the ball. Like, I'm not trying to necessarily spoon feed anybody a bucket and put you in a situation to say, shoot this. I'm just moving the ball. I'm just trying to get us to move and see what happens.
Who is the starting 2 guard? It's so hard to figure out who's. I know.
Yeah, positionless basketball, man. I think it's just more about the time. Who gets the time.
If Calderon starts and Jeff Green has been named as a starter, obviously LeBron and Love. If everybody's healthy, is it Hood? Is it Hill?
George Hill.
Is Hill?
Yeah,
I think so.
I guess it's George Hill, but I ain't gonna lie. I like to see instances where if Clarkson is playing up big, and I like to see him get that start. That's a role that he's had before. And I think he's a guy who's good enough to start. But it's like you said. Obviously, with him not being necessarily a true point guard and him not quite, always giving you the offense. He's not a great 3-point shooter every night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to have him at that 2-guard starting.
I like him coming
him coming off the bench too, but
before JR and Hood
and that's the thing.
And Korver.
If George Hill,
I like his ability to get buckets.
If George Hill, and this is what I'm getting at, if George Hill isn't going to produce, I would rather Clarkson start if he's playing well, and you have him start because you still get the off the bench element with JR. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't lose anything. It's not like we losing the ace off the bench. We still got somebody coming off the bench who can contribute for us, who can, bring us shooting and bring us energy, bring us offense. We still have that. You know what I'm saying? But now we don't have to. Sometimes George Hill is out there just being too passive. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, like I said, I do still expect for, there to be a stark contrast in the way he performs in the playoffs because I think he's almost going to be more suited for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's somebody, a vet, been in those, has gone to war against LeBron,
mm-hmm.
With those Pacers teams. And been in, he knows the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? He knows the pressures. He's been in the tight games. He's been in the big series. And, was a significant contributor. So I look for him to come to speed rather quickly. But, if that's not the case, I'm just saying, let's not be afraid to exercise the idea of Clarkson starting. Like, you got to produce. If you're a new guy, if you somebody if I catch you one too many times looking like this, like it's too much for you, I'm going to get you out of there.
Yeah. All right, man. We gonna talk about it, man. This Gamepoint Podcast, man. We still doing it, man.